Hey guys, Kerry, Werner here, fresh off of the Cyclocross National Championships in Louisville this past weekend. And I did the single speed race on Friday and then the elite race on Sunday. So I just wanted to do a little race recap for both, starting with the single speed. So the single speed course was pretty flat and dry, not a whole lot of super technical sections. The most technical bits being over by the mansion, the Belgian stairs. But you know, single speed is really interesting because, you know, you're limited by how fast you can go. A lot of us were on the same gears, maybe like one tooth harder or easier. With that said, it's like really hard to just pedal away from somebody, even if you're feeling really, really good. So right off the line, I knew that this race was gonna be about driving your bike and consistency. I spent the first lap trying to get a good start position and then maintaining a good position, trying to stay out of trouble. Just getting a feel for the course, what lines were good, what lines were bad, making sure I was checking everybody else's lines out, seeing where people were struggling. I actually started on a 42.18 and Lance was on a 42.9. My thought process was that I would do the part of the course closest to the start finish line in that gear, and then I would pit for the easier gear. I thought staying on the 42.18 would be too boggy. By the end of the race, I felt like it might sap my legs. I'm really glad I had that 19 tooth option in the pit because I ended up just pitting for it on lap 2 or 3 and staying on it the whole time. So at that point, Lance and I were on the same gear for the rest of the race. And also by this point, we had kind of managed to distance ourselves from the rest of the field. Immediately after pitting, I was struck with how hard it was to close even that like 3 to 5 bike length gap that I came out of the pit with. Lance and I are both really similar fitness-wise and technical ability. So, you know, a couple bike lengths is really, really hard to close down when you can't shift a gear and just dig a little harder for just like a couple seconds. So the whole second half of the race, Lance and I were on each other like white on rice. I would pull through a lap and then he would pull through a lap. We were both kind of checking each other's lines. We kind of quickly realized that we weren't going to get away from each other unless somebody crashed or had an unpredictable kind of mishap. I think we were both kind of waiting for that final lap where it was gonna get sorted out. So coming into the final lap, it was my turn to lead. And I was okay with this. I didn't see a huge downside to being in the front. Not like Lance could have grabbed a gear and attacked really quick and easily just gotten away from me. I was happy being in the front and kind of doing my own pace and my own lines through a lot of the technical sections. There was no real pressure. I mean, Lance was back there, but I think we both kind of realized that it was gonna come down to right at the very end. Coming into pit 2, I pushed and made sure that I had my gear pretty much spun out. We then hit the pavement straight that led into the final technical section, into the barriers. And I knew that if I could lead into the barriers that I had a pretty good shot of winning the bike race because there was really nowhere else to come around. We came down that pavement straight into the barriers and I had my gear spun out. I think in the back of his head, he was planning on jumping around me at the last second into the technical section, but it's not quite possible when you're both going the same speed and you can't go any faster because you don't have any more gears. I led into the barriers, made sure I was taking really good lines, kept the pace high. I was defending my inside. Lance tried to jump inside of me on the very last right-hander onto the finish straight, and I just moved over and shut it down. And from there, it was just onto the pavement, sprinting to the finish line. There was some video that came out from somebody watching the race, and kind of comical watching single speeders do a sprint finish because we're both out of the saddle, giving it everything, but we're both kind of just staying in the exact same position. Nobody's gaining on anybody and nobody's losing either. So really stoked to take the second in a row national single speed championship. Kenny did race single speed in a mustache, and I will say Kenny will be back for some more cyclocross next year, which means that I might actually get a chance to wear the stars and stripes, which I did not get a chance to do this year. So yeah, stick around. The elite race recap is coming up next. Thanks for watching.